protecting Main Street from Wall Street. It's Chris Hoffman with Money Unleashed.
How much money do you put into your checking account from work on a month-to-month basis? It has a high probability that with your investable assets, we can replace that paycheck.
It's time to put you back in control of your money.
You've worked for 30, 35 years. It's time for you to not stress. It's time for you to enjoy and live the retirement you want to live.
It's Money Unleashed with Chris Hoffman.
Welcome into Money Unleashed with Chris Hoffman of the Hoffman Financial Group. We appreciate you checking out the podcast. As always, make sure you subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and catch Money Unleashed on 95.5 WSB in Atlanta from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. each and every Sunday. Now, we spend decades working on growing our money, accumulating those assets. But if you haven't cracked the code on the right order and in many cases the right time to tap into the right account, then you could be in for a rude awakening in retirement, and nobody wants that. Smart Asset came up with a list of the worst ways to withdraw from your retirement accounts, and I think avoiding these could help folks out immensely, Chris, because as much as we like to tell people maybe the best way to do things, sometimes just avoiding the biggest mistakes you can make is equally powerful. So let's start with not beginning with your investment income.
I mean, you've got to build a replace my paycheck type of income, highly reliable income, guaranteed income like Social Security. Independent of any financial planning or any investment strategies, you have to have an income plan that includes the taxes on those distributions. So, I mean, you can look at your 401k, but I'll tell you that's not going to generate a ton of income for you. The bond funds aren't built to produce high levels of income, in my opinion. They also then, if their funds are at interest rate risk, so you'll watch them fluctuate and bounce, there are better ways of handling all of that. But you do need to assess with all of your assets, how much income can my financial life send me? My entire financial life, all of my pensions, all of my defined contribution benefits, my IRA/401k, Social Security, running the right type of analysis on you, and if you're married, your spouse, to make sure you optimize those benefits. Possibly waiting until age 65 to retire to get Medicare. There has to be a really in-depth analysis and discussion about generating income from my entire financial life. And in this case, they're talking about investment income. And that is step number one. I totally agree.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about this is, you can spend a long time pouring into those pre-tax accounts and thinking, well, when I retire, this is my money. But that can be a bit of a misnomer. Generating that income without invading your principal, that's really what you're looking for.
Yeah, so what just crossed my mind is you take one step forward and two steps back, right? Mm-hmm. You take one step forward and we send you $100,000 from your financial life, and then at the end of the year, you take two steps back because you owe them 20, 30% of it. So you can't take steps back in retirement. It's not allowed. We have to take stair steps up, right? We don't want any elevators going to the basement.
No.
So it's very, very important to put together a comprehensive income plan. And that way you can choose. It's not just designing it around how much money it can generate for you. It also becomes defining what buckets you're going to pull from at what time, right, folks? You've got taxable money that has already been taxed, that you would just pay capital gains tax on. If you held it for 12 months, you get long-term capital gains. That's a fixed rate, 15 or 20%. Do you pull from there? Do you pull from tax-deferred IRA, 401k, understanding you're going to get hit with income tax potentially on that money? Or do you pull it from a tax-free bucket? Those are the three buckets of money. So when you're talking to your financial advisor about your income plan, what you want to know is not just how much they're going to send you, but from what buckets of money and what's the timing on it. Mm-hmm. And then ultimately you want to see it played out in various tax scenarios, depending on where they send it from and how much they send you annually. You're going to want to see the tax impacts because remember, we're in marginal brackets. And if you jump to the next bracket, you're going to see those additional funds that you're taking out from an income standpoint, they might be at a higher rate. So do you want to stay in the 22 to 24% bracket? That might be okay. But after 24, it ramps up. I don't want to step into that bear trap. So it's about income planning. How much can your financial life send you in retirement? with the least amount of taxes, and I vote zero income tax. That's our mission.
Yeah, I would also vote for that one, just in case you're keeping score at home. Like you brought up Social Security. That's one of those guaranteed, sustainable income sources there. And for a lot of folks, that's not an insignificant amount of money either. But worst ways to pull from your retirement accounts, according to Smart Asset, claiming Social Security benefits at age 62, that can be a mistake.
It can be. If you're still working, it's
right.
potentially a mistake because you can get penalized. If you and your spouse make too much income, they may take away dollars of Social Security. It's not that they're going to tax it. They literally will take away a certain number of dollars for every certain number of dollars you make over the threshold. So you have to be fully retired or almost fully retired to pull Social Security before full retirement age of 67. But let me counter that with, if you don't run into a penalty phase, it may be in your best interest to trigger one of your Social Security payments or possibly both of your Social Security payments between age 62 and 67. Why? Well, in high inflationary environments, you get COLA increases. So you don't have to wait from 62 to 63 to see your increase. You're going to get a COLA increase and you get the ability of using that money. Another differentiating factor on triggering early is if you're going to have to liquidate portions of your principal investments to pay for your lifestyle. You may want to pull the Social Security early and preserve your principal because that principal needs to generate income for you and it needs to grow over time. So to a certain extent, I can agree that claiming at 62 may cause a little bit of a problem later in life at age 80 or 85. Yes, you would have crossed over and be making more money then. The other question I have for you, when do you want to be making the most amount of money?
Yeah.
When you're 85 years old? I don't know if that's necessarily the right play. But every couple, we run multiple scenarios. We give you about 3 or 4 options, and we give you an optimal scenario around Social Security.
That Social Security analysis, an important part of getting everything in order with your financial plan to know how all of these interchangeable and interlocking pieces fit together best for you. Another one of the worst ways to withdraw from your retirement accounts, according to Smart Asset, is withdrawing from your 401k and IRA before RMDs kick in. Why would that be?
So the consequences would be this. If you wait until RMD age of 73 and you just take your RMDs, you're probably going to leave a healthy amount of pre-tax, tax-deferred money to your spouse and then to potentially your children. If you do that, you may be leaving them the tax bomb the government is licking their chops over. Because if you leave your 401k or IRAs to your children, when you pass away, most likely, statistically, they will be earning their highest wages. You've basically given them a tax time bomb. Versus you using your pre-tax IRA in retirement when your income level may be down. So you pay less tax, and certainly the income tax rates today are historically low in the country. So why wouldn't you pull out annually just enough to avoid any income tax? Mm-hmm. Why would we say hold all of your tax-deferred IRA and 401k until age 73 when you may be able to liquidate pieces of it and pay no taxes before you kick into your RMDs and that percentage goes up? So I would say number 3, I would question a bit. And I think it's a very individualized study that you need to do with your financial advisory team.
Yeah, it's definitely that. And I think this is just pointing out that you can start withdrawing that money from your 401k when you turn 59 and a half. That is your option. Doesn't mean it's the best thing to do because you can allow the money to continue to grow and compound interest. And obviously, Chris, you've talked so many times about building the income plan that allows you to not invade principal. Maybe it's just another component of that. Now, here's an interesting one that I'm fascinated to get your thoughts on. Tapping into your Roth account before exhausting some other options. What might the problems be that would present to you?
Yeah, so that's oftentimes a discussion point with our clients. They want to hold that tax-free money forever. Mm-hmm. Now, so I'm not disagreeing with you from leaving Roth money to your children. If they're your beneficiaries, that's the best kind of money to leave. But is there a way of designing just enough withdrawals from your tax-deferred account to avoid any taxation on that money? Look at it this way, folks. If there was a way of pulling money out of a tax-deferred account and never paying tax on it, what does that remind you of? A Roth IRA. Okay? So you want to turn your tax-deferred IRA into a Roth IRA. Don't be afraid to take pieces out of that. But that may not provide enough income for you in retirement, so it's okay to claw down some interest, dividends possibly, on your Roth account. And then obviously you've got taxable money, checking account, et cetera, that maybe you're using as a backup or an emergency fund. That's fine. But it's a discussion of the entire puzzle. Retirement isn't something where you can have 20 missing puzzle pieces and call it complete, right? So you've got to take a look at the entire landscape, all of the monies that are at your disposal, and don't be afraid to go with something that at first you go, I'm pulling out my tax-free money. That tax-free money is going to grow tax-free. My tax-deferred money is only going to grow tax-deferred. Well, are you going to inherit a big tax time bomb if you don't pull out any of your tax-deferred money before age 73? I'm going to say there's a high probability you do face a wicked tax consequence later in life as income rates change. And I would believe, and I don't think anybody listening is going to argue, that conventional wisdom says tax rates are going to go up.
All right.
So why are we not considering pulling a little bit of the IRA, tax-deferred money out, maybe a little bit of tax-free money, maybe a little bit of the safe checking account or taxable money? So everything is on the table for analysis, and that's why you need a full financial plan so we can map it out.
So we talked about some of the worst ways to do things, and now folks know maybe some things to avoid. But Chris, for folks listening out there thinking about the best ways to step into this and the best ways to get started, the good news is we've got an answer for them as far as that is concerned as well, and we call it the Portfolio X-ray, don't we?
Yeah, the Portfolio X-ray is the first and easiest step. I do want to say this. Typically, we set kind of a minimum in investable assets, but for the next 10 callers, regardless of the size of portfolio you have, do not underestimate that everybody needs to manage their assets to the most effective level possible. So I want to waive the minimum of $500,000 and allow the next 10 callers to call in. We will do a full portfolio X-ray for you. I think it's very important for you to do that so that we can improve your financial life or make every attempt to, so that you can move yourself closer and closer to that magical retirement date. So please call us at 404-341-6767. We'll show you all the things that are not optimized and not serving you inside your portfolio. It gives you the opportunity to make decisions as a family on what you want your portfolio and your financial life to actually do for you and how you want it to perform moving forward.
Let's get started today at 404-341-6767. That's 404-341-6767 and online at unleashyourmoney.com. Chris Hoffman is an investment advisor representative of Brookstone Wealth Advisors, LLC, a registered investment advisor and affiliate of Brookstone Capital Management, LLC. BWA and Hoffman Financial Group are affiliated under common ownership. Registered investment advisors and investment advisor representatives act as fiduciaries for all of our investment management clients. We have an obligation to act in the best interest of our clients and to make full disclosures of any conflicts of interest. Please refer to our firm brochure, the ADV 2A, page 4, for additional information. The Hoffman Financial Group and WSB are not affiliated. Exposure to ideas and financial vehicles discussed should not be considered investment advice or recommendation to buy or sell any financial vehicle. This information should not be considered tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a professional specializing in the field of tax, legal, accounting, or investments regarding the applicability of this information for their situation. Any client experiences discussed during the show are unique to that client. They are not meant to imply or suggest you will experience the same results. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. Investments will fluctuate and when redeemed may be worth more or less than when originally invested. Any comments regarding safe and secure products and guaranteed income streams refer only to fixed insurance products. They do not refer in any way to securities or investment advisory products. Fixed insurance and annuity product guarantees are subject to the claims paying ability of of the issuing company and are not offered by Brookstone. Index or fixed annuities are not designed for short-term investments and may be subject to caps, restrictions, fees, and surrender charges as described in the annuity contract. Please refer to our firm brochure, the ADV2A Item 4, for additional information. Hoffman Financial Group is not affiliated with or endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency. Insurance licensed in Georgia, number 163546.